Hey everyone, let's talk about the Epic 7 Masters. The drafting stage for the round of 16 is done. And we'll briefly take a look at the round of 16 and I'll predict who's going to potentially come out on top of that. And the most important part, that's the topic of today's video, is the person from all the group stages, group stage games that I found the most interesting. Like all the 16 players that made it through are all very good players in their own regard. But there was one person from the entire list that I found incredibly entertaining to watch. And I'll highlight the guy. But I'm pretty sure most people already know who that is because I hyped him up quite a bit when I was watching the video. So let me change to window capture. So let's take a look at the tournament tree. So round of 16, we've got Alibi versus W. Richard, which will probably be the first match. Then we've got Light versus Toshi Popo. The winners of these two matches will face off against each other in the quarterfinals. Then the second set of games is Minoru versus Hazamaray and Elf Mage, Omega I, versus Fan and 1085th. And the winners of Minoru Hazamaray and Elf Mage versus Fan will also face within the round of 8, the quarterfinals. Then we've got 108050 versus Magic Key and Sindri versus Phantom. Very tough tree that Sindri got there. And then the last couple is Tetsu versus Meow Mixed and Keith versus Ryojin Goto. So just from the basically brackets, so to say, the lower bracket, the lower round of, or the lower 8 people, I feel like that's the hard part. Now, all of them, like I said, are actually good, but at the bottom, we've got really, really strong players. We've got 108050, we've got Magic Key, we've got Sindri. Phantom is pretty good, but I wouldn't put him on a high pedestal as the other ones. Tetsu is really strong. He's an amazing player. Meow Mixed is really good. Keith, I don't know. He is a good cleaver, I believe, if I remember correctly. And Ryojin Goto is just a very, very solid player all around. So I feel like the bottom 8, they're really strong, and that's the tournament tree of death, so to say. But since there's 2 winners, and the upper 8 and the lower 8 won't ever face off against each other, that's fine. So for Alibi versus Richard, or W. Richard as I like to call him, or most people like to call him, I feel like Richard is going to have it. Then Light versus Toshi Popo, highly depends. Light, at least from what I remember, is just still playing his standard Genesis Ras stuff with scales, etc. So mostly turn 2. And if he still does that, I feel like Toshi Popo will pretty much pummel him. But I'll let myself get surprised. I haven't watched Light in forever, honestly. Minoru Hazamaray, I think, unless Hazamaray fumbles and plays badly, Hazamaray should have this. Elf Mage should also have this. And it's probably Hazamaray versus Elf Mage. I really hope Elf Mage makes this and wins this. And then Richard versus either Light or Toshi Popo. I guess Light's gonna take it. And then I hope Richard makes it through. I would really like for Richard to be one of the 2. Actually, I'm capping. There is the finals, which is top 1, top 8 from the other group, and upper bracket and the lower bracket. And I'm hoping that Richard and Sindri make it to the finals and face each other. And then I obviously hope Sindri makes it, but I'd also be happy for Richard because he's a cool dude. So yeah, so much for the tournament tree. Very exciting. I'm looking forward to the games. And the player that I want to highlight in this video is actually W. Richard, because I found him to be incredibly entertaining and the Twitter/X account of Epic 7. So here's the X/Twitter account from Epic 7 Global. There is a lot of news. We also are getting an Ivana preview on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. She has 117 base speed, by the way, in the Fire Soul Weaver. So Loki, she's pretty fast. And I'm hoping that she kind of counters the cancer that we have with Lytica Cleave, Briar Cleave, RB bullshit, so to say. I really hate the meta right now. I feel like Smygate has ruined the entire game or the entire RTA experience with the last balance patch. So I'm hoping that Ivana can shake things up. But yeah, this is the Twitter account from Epic 7 Global. They do post a lot of stuff in here, very frequent posts. They also keep us updated about the tournament tree. Also, don't forget that the B7GG is also always there for you to use and check for the draft of each player. But the Epic 7 Twitter account also made this very cool breaking news article post. I'm hoping this comes out well on the stream as well. Very few people actually voted for Richard during the community post. And what I find so interesting is that the enemies that Richard played against Shruizi, 108050, and especially Fivers, with the exception of 108050, she is just all around well. But Shruizi and Fivers really went into flowchart drafting. And what made Richard stand out so much is that he would go into unconventional drafts where the enemy, or in that case, Fibers and both Shruizi, just stuck to their flowchart and didn't know how to respond to this correctly. And they both lost. Like, they tremendously lost. Now, I believe Fibers only lost 2-1 to W. Richard, but Richard had so many cool ideas in his drafts that, the news post says Richard delivered a major upset defying the low odds. Sure, Sindri did too. But I feel like both Sindri and Richard, while they were treated as underdogs, I feel like both of them are incredible players, and they deserve their right to be in the round of 16. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Richard's drafting because his drafting is unconventional. He makes use of units that you don't see very often. And he also was kind of lucky, no? Wasn't he? He also had the Master of Nightmare Tori that just propped on end. And he inspired me to build my Tori on Master of Nightmare as well. And she works sometimes, and it's kind of fun when it works. So Richard did inspire me. And I'm very much looking forward to how he performs in the round of 16 and moving forward. And that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I'm super excited for the games. Let me just go back to regular game capture. And I'll be back on Wednesday with more Guild War. And yeah, we'll see each other then. Have a good one. Bye-bye.